In this video we're going to be factorising quadratic trinomials. A quadratic is an expression that has a squared term as its highest power, and a trinomial has 1, 2, 3 terms in it. So let's have a look and see. When we're factorising, our end goal is to have all of our terms in brackets like that. The way to approach a trinomial is to have a look at the coefficient of the x squared term and have a look at the constant. And we're going to multiply those together. So 1 times 15 is 15. Our next job is to look at factors of 15 that add to our middle coefficient, which is 8. So I like to set it up like this. Factors of 15, two numbers that when I add them together I get 8. So they're going to multiply to get 15, they're going to add to get 8. So the two numbers that we're going to be looking at are 3 and 5. 3 times 5 is 15, 3 plus 5 is 8. What we do with those two factors now is break our 8x up into a 3x plus a 5x. So our expression becomes x squared plus 3x plus 5x plus 15. Now I'm going to factorise my 4 terms by grouping them into lots of 2. This first group, my common factor is x, so I have an x plus 3 left over because there's a common x here. Looking at the second group, I have a common factor of plus 5. If I take a plus 5 out of there, I have x plus 3 left. What will always happen if you've done this correctly is these two now will become your common factor. Your brackets will always match. That's your common factor, so it comes out as a common factor. If I take the x plus 3 out of this, I have an x left. If I take the x plus 3 out of this one, I have a 5 left. And there is my factorised version of this trinomial, x plus 3, x plus 5. Let's try another one. Coefficient of x squared is 1. 1 times 6 is 6, so I want factors of 6 that add to minus 5. They've got to multiply to 6, they've got to add to 5. Minus 5, I should say. Now, 6 is a funny one because I could have a 1 and a 6, or I could have 2 times 3. Now, I think that 2 times 3 is going to be the best one. 2 times 3 is 6, but 2 plus 3 doesn't equal minus 5, it actually equals positive 5. What we need to do is put a minus on both of those. Minus 2 times minus 3 is plus 6, minus 2 take away 3 is minus 5. After you've done lots of these, you'll get the hang of what you need to do with your minuses, but pretty much if they've got to multiply to get a positive value, then they both have to be the same sign. They either both have to be positive or they both have to be negative, so be very careful of that. Alright, let's keep going. Our two factors are minus 2 and minus 3, so our minus 5 term in the middle is going to get broken up. X squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 6. Then group those two and those two. Common factor here of x, outside of x take 2. Common factor here is minus 3. Don't forget that linking function. I have an x. Now if I've taken a minus 3 out of a plus 6, I've got a minus 2 left. Keep in mind that you're trying to get this same bracket here. Keep that in your mind, and that'll help you making your decisions with your negatives and your positives. Also, you can check if you were to expand this, are you going to get back to here? Minus 3 times x is minus 3x. Minus 3 times minus 2 is plus 6, so you've done that correctly. X minus 2 is common, so that comes out. And I have an x take 3 left. There's my factorised version. Let's try another one over here. I have a 1 in front of my x squared. 1 times minus 12 is minus 12. I want two numbers that multiply to minus 12 and add to minus 4. Multiply to minus 12, add to minus 4. Now I think that 2 and 6 are going to be the best numbers here because 2 times 6 gives me 12. However, I need to have a minus 12, so one of these factors here has to be minus, but only one of them can be a minus because I need two different signs to make this minus 12. Have a think about which one needs to be minus so that when I add them, I get minus 4. If I have a plus 2 and a minus 6, plus 2 minus 6 is minus 12. Plus 2 take away 6 gives me minus 4. So there's our correct factors. Our middle term, minus 4x, is going to split. So I have x squared plus 2x minus 6x minus 12. And then group those two and those two. Common factor of x outside of x plus 2. Common factor here of minus 6. Keep in mind I want an x plus 2. Have a look what's going to happen here. I've got my x. If I take a minus 6 out of that minus 12, I have a plus 2 left, just as I wanted. Common factor here now of x plus 2. And I have an x take 6 left. If you've got a trinomial here, like this one at number 4, and the coefficient of x squared here is not a 1, it's not a major drama, it's just a little bit harder, but to make it as easy as you can, always look first of all, is there a common factor that I can take out? And if you have a look, all of our coefficients are even. So I actually can take this common factor of 2 out of every term and now I would factorise this part just as I have these other ones. And I'm not going to do that one for you. You could pause the video and have a try at that yourself. Let's have a look and see what we do if the coefficient of x squared is not a 1. I've got a 3x squared and I've got a 2x squared on these ones. It's exactly the same process as we did on the previous slide. I have 3x squared, take 11x, take 4. Just as I said over there, I'm going to get the coefficient of x squared and the constant, and I'm going to multiply those together. So 3 times minus 4 is minus 12. So now what I want to do is get factors of minus 12 that add to minus 11. Factors of minus 12 that add to minus 11. Same process, this coefficient times the constant. It just ends up being a little bit different because in all of the other ones we just multiplied by 1. So the number at the end ended up being what we put here. But essentially it is always this coefficient times the constant. So minus 12 times 11, multiply to minus 12, add to minus 11. So I think we need a 1 and a 12 because 1 times 12 is 12 and the difference between 1 and 12 is 11. Now I just need to play around with the minuses to get the minus on the right one. If I had a minus on the 1, minus 1 times 12 is minus 12, but minus 1 plus 12 would give me plus 11. I need a minus 11, so in fact that needs to be positive and the negative needs to go on the 12. Now let's just do exactly the same as what we've done for all of the other ones. I'm going to break my minus 11x up, so I have 3x squared plus 1x minus 12x minus 4. Group my 4 terms into 2 lots of 2. My common factor here is just x, and I have a 3x plus a 1. My common factor here is going to be minus 4, and I have 3x. Keep in mind that I want to match this. Minus 4 out of a minus 4, I've got a plus 1 left. Common factor here, 3x plus 1, and then I have an x minus 4 left over. So it's exactly the same process. You've just got to be more aware of the fact that it is this coefficient times the constant. Let's do one more. 2 times minus 9. 2 times minus 9 is minus 18. So now my setup is two numbers that multiply to minus 18, but they add to plus 3. They've got to add to this middle one. Multiply to minus 18, add to plus 3. So the two factors are going to be, well, 2 9s made it 18, but the difference between 2 and 9 is not going to give us the 3. So we need to explore something else. I think we're going to need 6 and 3. 6 3s are 18, and the difference between them is 3. Now I need to play around with the minuses. I need a plus 3, so I think we're going to need a plus 6 and a minus 3. Let's check. Plus 6 times minus 3 is minus 18. 6 take away 3 is 3. So there's our two factors that we need. I'm just going to move this down here out of the way. Okay, breaking up this 3x into our plus 6 minus 3. So 2x squared plus 6x minus 3x minus 9. Root your 2 and 2. Common factor here is 2x outside of x plus 3. Common factor here is minus 3 outside of, keep in mind where you're going, and x minus 3 out of a minus 9, I've got a plus 3 left. Common, that comes out, x plus 3, and I have a 2x and a minus 3 left. And that is all there is to factorising trinomials of this form. There are some other methods. If we can't get factors of minus 18 that add to 3, you need to explore some other options. But we'll talk about those in later videos. So let's sum up everything that we've done here. If you've got a quadratic trinomial of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and this is our general form of a quadratic, what you're going to do is, first of all, take out any common factors. Secondly, multiply the coefficient of x squared here by the constant, and that is just the a times the c. Then you're going to find factors of this product that add to the coefficient of x, which is just that b term. Break your middle term up using those two factors, and then factorise the 4 terms by grouping 2 and 2. Good luck.